we're going to get into football with Sean Salisbury in a minute.
Uh-oh.
Sean, I follow you on Twitter, and congratulations on earning your master's degree in kinesiology from Texas A&M.
Wow.
Something that you promised your late mother and father you would do upon your graduation from USC years ago. So you got to be feeling incredibly proud right now.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's really kind. I appreciate it. Kinesiology and sport management from Texas A&M. And when I started in January of 2021, you guys, when you've been out of school for a long time, you're like, I got a job and a career I like. What am I doing, you idiot? But I did make the promise on graduation day to my mom and dad back in 1986. And here we are all these years later. And I know they'd be proud because they were such great support and awesome parents, and the promise meant a lot to me. And it was emotional and kind of time to pontificate and kind of mull over all those years and what they did. And I'm glad I was able to pay it off, and I'm done, and I'm very proud of it. I don't do much right, but this was one of the things I did do right, so I'm happy.
Well, let me just pick your brain a little bit. So they really wanted you to go to get a master's. Well, I mean, a lot of parents, college would have been fine.
Yeah, no, and it wasn't even my mom and dad, neither one of them. My mom was a hairdresser and a cake decorator and was awesome at it her whole life. And my dad's a blue-collar plasterer by trade, went to trade school, and construction guy. I come from a blue-collar, paycheck-to-paycheck family, but my mom and dad always said, that they always wanted more for their kids than they did for me. I originally went to USC to be a dentist, play football and be a dentist. And then my dad said, with that mouth of yours, why don't you go be a broadcaster if you want? And I did. But that day, and you guys know when you go through college, sometimes you say, man, there's certain things I could have done better or some things I would have changed. And as I was getting my diploma and walked off, I said, it was probably idea. My parents were all for it. It's not like they browbeat me to say, you go get a master's degree. They just always said, whatever you can do to create options for yourself and make yourself better, because no matter how long you play football, there's going to be something else. And if you create options for yourself, it does nothing but make you more valuable, just like my dad always told me when it came to sports. And so then I said, okay, I promised him that day, I'll never forget where I was on campus saying, I'm going to get a master's degree. I don't know when, but I'm going to do it for you two. And they were both elated, and they didn't get to see it. My mom was still alive when I started it, and unfortunately she passed away by the time I finished it. But I know they'd be proud, and I'm proud of it too. It took a lot of work and put a lot of effort into it to get good grades and make my parents proud. So thank you.
Sean, fist bump through the phone, man. That's awesome stuff.
Thank you,
we're
bud.
all happy
Appreciate
for you, and I know they're proud of
Thank
you.
you.
Let me ask you this, because you played the quarterback position. I told Steiny and the listeners, forget Philly, forget Dallas. I just believe the Niners on both sides of the ball with Jimmy, they're going to represent the National Football Conference in the Super Bowl. When you got the news that Jimmy is out for the year, where did your mind go, and how far can they go with Brock?
I had like 3 layers. You know that Neapolitan ice cream, guys? That used to get at the strawberry. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You wanted them all. I had 3 layers. First off, I was sick for Jimmy. I was sick for him because he's having such a good year, and all the stuff he went through last year and this offseason and earlier this year to be in this position and have the opportunity that he didn't know he was going to have. Second, I was sick for the 49ers. And because I'm with you. I think they're as complete a team and as talented a roster on both sides of the ball as there is in a league. They may not have Mahomes, but they've got better players in certain areas. So that's 2, and including Philly. And 3, I was like, okay, what in the world are we going to do here now if you're the 49ers? And how are you going to call plays and put Brock in a position who was battling in training camp, as you guys know, to win a job to be on the roster? So here he is, I guess, and what came to my mind is Kyle, and I said this out loud in my living room to my girl and people that would listen, is I hope Kyle – first of all, I wanted to see the game, and I thought he did a nice job, Brock, last week. I said, hope Kyle tells him, having been in a situation, guys, where I was a backup at the time and they needed me to come in and win a couple games to get us in the playoffs, and we did. And so I hit me. I said, Denny Green, what he would have said to me and what he did, and I thought, please go.
Yeah. We'll get Sean back on.
Almost needed some tissue over here, Steiny. That's great stuff, man.
See,
Have you ever cried?
of course.
No, seriously.
Yeah, of course.
Non-funeral, like, has any... I'm looking at you like you're Terminator, but I'm like, can you share with us? Like,
No.
Yeah, okay. That's what
No, I can't.
Evan, you got any guesses with what could have made Steiny cry? I don't know. I was looking at you like, Guru, you know who you're talking to, right?
Oh, my gosh.
That's
got to be
stuff.
some sort of failure, right?
Right.
Oh, my gosh. I'll be trying to think. Oh,
I mean, tears of joy.
Yeah, right. Maybe when you left the Warrior gig? No. Look at me.
which time? Oh, man. I remember. Okay. I'll be honest with you.
This is good stuff right here.
I just remember we got Sean back.
Okay. We'll save it.
Hey, Sean, we got you back.
Yeah, I could hear everything. I don't know what happened because you guys were talking about crying and everything. So I'm like,
Well, Guru was saying,
I'm choked
it's
up a little bit.
emotional
Yeah.
that, you getting your degree, and he asked me
oh,
if
thank you.
last time I cried, we were killing time.
Have you ever?
till
Well, hey,
you
I'm
got
glad
that.
I could bring you to tears or water your eyes a little bit, brother. Thank you for caring.
No.
I was answering, guys. The last thing that came to my mind was, what will Kyle tell Brock? Brock Purdy. And I thought, because I've been in the situation when I had to win a couple games coming off the bench, and what Denny Green told me. And so I said, please don't tell him in my mind that, just go play it safe. Don't play, you don't have to be aggressive. You just don't have to lose it. You got a great defense. I wanted Kyle, and I hope he did, to say, listen, you're a hell of a player. It's your team right now. You don't have to be a hero, but if you got a shot, you take it. You go play football, because we're going to need you to make throws against Brady's team. And as we get into January, because guys playing it safe, smart's one thing. He's going to have to match guys in the postseason and the rest of the year. Sometimes he's going to have to make throws that you're like, ooh, man, that's a good football player. So, of course, experience-wise, they took a step back. But for me, I hope Kyle's approach is, we're not backing off from our offense. We're going to run the ball, play action, get him on the edge, throw slants, get him on time like we did Jimmy, and watch him grow into this position. Because, listen, there's no other – you don't have no option. There is no other option. This is the guy, and I'm going to trust that he's smart enough to make decisions, but also aggressive and bold enough to take the shots when they're there.
Yeah, Sean Salisbury joining us on 95.7 The Game. You can hear him every Monday with Lorenzo Neal at 6 p.m., the football hour. Let me ask you this about Brock Purdy in terms of his strengths and his weaknesses, because one of the things that I'm hearing about him, or we're hearing about him, is he does have a little bit of a fearlessness to him. So that would lead me to believe that Kyle may, or he may be the kind of quarterback that naturally won't play it safe, if you will.
That's a great point. And the one thing about it is guys who cherish and want that opportunity, but also everybody will tell you that. But guys, some of that's DNA and how they're built. And I can tell you that some guys can overcome mistakes. He's going to make a mistake or two. He just is. The key is for Kyle's aggressiveness and Brock's is, how aggressive do you remain when you throw that pick or something happens and it's 3 and out. I talked to Brock's private quarterback coach. I talk to him every week, and I talked to him today about Brock. He's in Arizona, but been coaching him for a long time. And I talked to him about the aggressiveness, how he feels. He said, Sean, he won't back off a bit. He goes, the kid is far more mature than the years he's been in the league. And I would expect nothing more than to him, mentally to be able to get him in the right spot, to take the shots when they're there, to play smart football, but that Kyle should not have to back off. Now, you may expand in certain areas, and you may condense down, but should not have to back off and doing what the 49ers have done all year, because it's not like you're getting a guy who's always on the edge runner that you got to run it 18 times, or a guy who just sits in the pocket, can't move. He's kind of the tweener between Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo, and I think you can actually do some different things with him. The key is his mental toughness, and I would imagine he wants to grab Kyle by the sweatshirt and say, hey, man, I got this. And if he's that kind of guy with that defense and the weapons they have, I'm not ruling out the 49ers still getting to where they need to go. I know people are going to knock them down for it. I've seen heroes born without trying to be a hero, and you never know.
Wow. Sean, as a former player, let me ask you about this news I'm about to give you, and you may already know. Bosa, who I believe with Parsons and Crosby are up for DPOY, and it may be Bosa's to lose. But as a former player, he has not practiced all week, didn't practice today. And, there are standing implications for the Niners and, the rookie quarterback, which we just talked about. How concerned would you be with that news about Bosa not practicing all week headed into this game Sunday against Brady and the Bucs?
I'd be concerned if he wasn't practicing and I knew he was going to be out. And I don't think we know that, the day-to-day thing, right? Guys, if you're asking me if I'm concerned that if he didn't practice, will he be in shape or will he be able to turn it on and off during a game? Not at all. I played with Kenny Easley my rookie year. Wow. Kenny Easley, the great safety from the UCLA and Hall of Famer from the Seahawks. And Kenny did not practice. He was at the stage of his career. I'm not saying Bosa's there, but his lower body, we needed him on Sundays. We didn't need him running around on a Wednesday or a Thursday. He was as sharp and smart a defensive football player I'd ever been around. And he'd been sweats, and he'd almost help coach in the secondary. But when we lined up on Sunday, that dude, number 45, he was 45, was ready to knock you around and play because he stayed into it. Bosa's motor will run just fine as long as he's not hampered. So the concern is he been out all week because he's not going to play, or has he been out all week because it's day-to-day, but he's just resting and I need him to turn it on Sunday? Put it this way, if it's a fence-sitting thing and that guy can go, you damn well know he wants to go, not only because he wants to win, but there he is the leading candidate for Defensive Player of the Year, and the numbers bear that out. And so does the defensive production. You have got to have him on the field if he's healthy or close. I'm not worried about his motor running as long as he can get on the field and that he's ready to go. Practice doesn't bother me during the season. Mm-hmm.
Sean, thank you so much as always. Really appreciate it. And have a great weekend, man.
Guys, thank you. Sorry the phone cut out. I don't know what happened, but I'm honored and always appreciate being on with you guys. You're awesome.
Sweet. That's Sean Salisbury. You can hear